What's up, my dudes? These are the moments I live for, bro. That 11 o'clock Willie, just straight stargazing, dude. Everything else in the world just disappears. You're just in that moment. Nothing else matters. You're not even thinking. You're just doing. There's nothing else in this world. That's one of the best feelings in this world, dude. Like, it's awesome. And the only thing that I've ever been able to find that can actually give me that feeling is motocross. That's it. There's nothing else that can give me that feeling of complete, absolute freedom. There's no restriction to me. And real life dirt bikes do it, and even MX Simulator does it. And even on some rare occasions, you can get some arcade motocross games that can do that for you too. But man, it's just, that feeling is like unexplainable to somebody. But just the feeling of like running a perfect lap where it feels like you can't crash no matter if God himself came down and tried to crash you. Like you just, it's impossible to crash. There's no limit to how fast you're going. You're just feeling the bike, and man, those kind of feelings and stuff, it's like, that's why we love motocross. You know, we get into racing and we get into doing this and we get into doing that, and it gets all super serious. And trust me, I totally understand like the competitive side of it, but like, we all do this because it's fun. You know, that's the reason why anybody starts to ride motocross. And I know to all the professional motocross racers out there, that's like an easy excuse. It's like, oh yeah, I don't want to become professional because I'm just trying to have fun. Yeah, because I can't really become professional. I'm not good enough, you know? Like, I understand that side of it, but like, in a truer sense, like, that's what happens before you ever get serious with being competitive or trying to go pro or whatever. It's about having fun on a dirt bike. That's the whole point, and those feelings you get, and that's what motocross is all about. You know what I'm saying? So just don't forget about having fun with it, man. I know you can get so deep into the competitive aspect that you just, like, your tunnel vision completely, and you're not thinking about anything else. And I know it kind of gets to a point where that is the fun in it, actually being competitive and you know, racing and getting better and doing all that. But just, man, you can get so deep into it that you totally forget about why you even started riding dirt bikes. You know what I mean? So that's just a pretty cool thing. But yeah, man, this track right here, I would say probably one of, if not the coolest nighttime tracks on MX Simulator. And it's kind of crazy that I'm saying that because there's not even any shading on this track. You know, it's not even like what you would call a super realistic nighttime track, because there's no shading whatsoever here. Even though there's lights on the track, there's still, the whole entire track is lit up, kind of like in a standard consistent way here. You'll get on some of those tracks that have actual shading to them where it really feels like a nighttime track, but this one, there's just something about the entire track that makes it cool and different. Oh my god, these saves right here, dude. I was just like, I couldn't crash. I don't know what there was to it, man. I just could not crash, and especially on the second lap of this gameplay right here. I mean, I eventually crashed, obviously, but man, I just got that feeling of like, I felt like a superhero or something, like Spencer Turley Underpants Boy. Like, I don't know what it was, dude. It just, sometimes you get those feelings in these motocross games, and even in real life, it's just like, the world just disappears, you know? You're in that moment, and there's nothing else that even remotely comes close to mattering. And it's the coolest feeling ever, man. But yeah, so I don't know if this track has one of the best sort of sandy, loamy dirt kind of feelings to it. It's got you know, it kind of feels like sand, but it's not super deep sand, so it's just kind of more of a loamy feel, so you can really put the bike wherever you want it on the track, and it's not going to give you weird feelings and stuff like that. But it's not like just a total sand track in the sense where you can just hold it wide the fuck open anywhere. It's not really like that. There is some sketchy roughness and stuff here and there. You just got to know kind of where the spots are on the track and where you got to tone it down a half a notch here and there, because if you don't, you're just going to flip right over the bike, because the roughness is so like peaked and small in areas that you can't really see it very good. So you really just got to clock in some laps on this track before you really know what you're doing. And it's kind of like, some people would call it bizarre roughness, but I kind of like this style of roughness right here. But I could see where some beginner riders would kind of not really like it as much, because it's a little bit tricky, because it's like the roughness will be right whenever you go into a rut or right whenever you come out of a rut, and then there will be like a single roller and then another really small jump like through tight corners and stuff like that. So it's just tricky in some areas that you just got to kind of know what you're doing a little bit more. But this jump right here, I don't know what's up with that thing, man. It's it's one of those weird jumps where you just got to find the perfect gear to be in, because if you're not, you're either going to underjump it by an inch or overjump it by 3 feet, and either way, you're fucking dead. So it doesn't really matter. It's like you got to land that thing perfect, and it's got just enough of a peak to the jump face that you can't just like mellow flow over the jump. It's one of those where it's really kicking you up high enough in the air where you just got to land it perfect, dude. So for my particular case on this 450 and my gearing that I have, third gear wide open was somewhat perfect. I was still coming up a little bit short on it, but if I ever went to fourth, then it was too hard to judge it, you know. So but for you, it may be totally different. Like on a 125, it's probably like fifth gear wide open or something like that. So now dude, I don't know what I was doing. Now, that's a definition of filling it a little bit too much right there, bro. You got to hoss down somewhat whenever you start getting like that. But, yeah, it's just the feeling of filling it. That's the feeling that I'm talking about. Like, when you're on a dirt bike, it's like no one can touch you. You're just on a cloud, dude. It's the best feeling ever. But now the ruts on this track are pretty cool. You've got this sand section. You can actually triple. Is that a triple or a quad? I don't know what that is, but you're jumping pretty deep in there, so you got to be careful with it. But some of these bigger, more so double style jumps on this track can feel a little bit weird to you if you're more of like a beginner amateur style rider. They almost feel like a freestyle jump just because of how actual peaked the transition and the jump face is itself. It's a little more extreme than I would think, like in comparison to some of the other jumps on the track, but they're a lot of fun, don't get me wrong, but they're tricky because you hit the peak so quick that it makes it very hard to judge the distance of the jump, and also very hard to like whip or scrub or anything like that on it, because it's such a abrupt kind of jump face. It's like you're hitting a freestyle jump. So you just got to be prepared for that, because the rest of the track can kind of put off that vibe like it's local track, kind of mellow style. You can see these little jumps right here, like they're not that extreme. So it kind of puts off that feeling like it's not that extreme, difficult style track. But some of these jumps can definitely be pretty tricky whenever you consider that there's roughness right after it and all that stuff. Dude, I'm getting better at popping wheelies. Oh my God. I don't know what it was. Dude, I think I could get to the point where I could wheelie in a circle in this game. Am I talking crazy right now, boys, or what? I think I could, though. Like, I started getting that feeling like, dude, I think you could do anything on this bike. It would just take you a long time to really learn it. But I'm getting to the point where, like, I can completely pop the wheelie all the way back and drag the back fender and still keep the wheelie going. So I really think I can get to the point where I can start actually turning it and trying to keep it up. But the problem with that is you've got to have it such at a 12 o'clock style wheelie, because when you start turning with the wheelie, a lot of times, like, you'll get off balance and then you can't keep the bike up anymore whenever you're turning like that, and it'll just fall over. But you got to have it so high up in the air where you can, like, pivot that back wheel. That's the whole trick to turning and wheeling at the same time. And also doing stoppies in this game, that's a really hard thing to do. The stoppies are a little bit more difficult than I thought they would be in a game like this. Like, they're pretty tough, man, to actually ride a real stoppie in this game. Like, it's not easy. It takes a long time to learn that, and especially thinking about doing, like, stoppies down a hill, like Travis Pastrana-style shit. Like, it's not going to be easy, man. I eventually want to get to the point where I can really do all that stuff in this game, though. Man, I'm just having fun with it. Like I said, I'm going to be getting back into pro racing, and I'm going to get back super serious with it, but I'm also going to have fun and just do whatever I want to do at the same time. Like, that's why you're doing it, is to do whatever you want to do on the dirt bike. That's what's fun about it. You know, they always say, oh, don't be doing wheelies, don't be doing stoppies, that's bad, blah, 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 whatever. Like, motherfucker, that's why we ride, man. It's whatever you want to do on that dirt bike. That's what's fun about it. And that's the moments I can think about, even in this game, but not just this game, even in real life, where I wasn't on a track, I wasn't racing, but I would be just sitting there practicing wheelies for weeks and weeks and months, just popping wheelies every single night. And that's how you learn it, dude. Like, it's just you're not even thinking about how much you're doing it. You're just sitting there popping wheelies, 1,000 wheelies a day for 3 months straight. Like, that's how you learn how to do that crazy stuff. And I just love how motocross, the skill gap to it is one of the coolest things ever. And it's a skill that you have to constantly refresh, or it starts to kind of run out a little bit on you there. Like, it's a perishable skill, so just like a lot of other skills out there. But either way, back to the track. I'm getting off on some weird vibes on this video here, talking about some crazy stuff, but you got some split lane sections on the track. I love the different ground decals. There's 2 or 3 on this track, I'm pretty sure. There's one that's got more of like a light sandy loamy look, and then there's one that's like almost like a red clay style kind of decal to it, and then you got a darker sandy kind of mix in it, so it looks pretty realistic and pretty good. I love the skybox, like I was saying in my drunk video. Absolutely love it. I don't know what I was doing right here. Check out this wheelie. I just like came out of that corner, popped a wheelie, rode it over that little thing. That was so much fun right there. Now, this little jump section here, you got to be careful and not over jump this. Almost felt like I was on a James Stewart compound right here or something. It was a pretty cool feeling, but dude, I had a crazy moment clip that will be in my next crazy moment compilation video. Oh my god, I think I did the craziest turn-up whip that I've ever done before on that very first tabletop on the track. Dude, like, I was coming around that corner 5th gear wide open sliding, and I just barely caught the knuckle edge of that jump face, and it just did like this automatic turn back, turn up whip. I mean, I didn't even really whip. Like, it just did it, and somehow I landed it magically. So, yeah, be looking out for that next Crazy Moments video. And I'm also going to go in there and do, like, I'm going to have to make, like, compilations of my Crazy Moment compilations. It's going to sound crazy when I first say that, but, like, I need to do, like, a top 10 of my whips compilations, top 10s of my scrub compilations, top 10 fucking wheelie compilation. I don't know. Like, I'm going to have to figure out a lot of different stuff because there's so many different crazy moment compilations. Don't forget to go look at my different series out there, dude. Series is can I even talk seizures here, dude? Oh my goodness. I'm not making fun of people with seizures, by the way. That's a terrible thing, and I'm sorry. And, I'm trying to live life and do everything to the fullest for people like you. That's what I'm doing. But, jokes, fuck jokes. I'm a fool. You can hate me if you want to, but savagery jokes, man, it can definitely get you in trouble. But so yeah, it's like, I've got so many series. Like, don't forget, if you're just a new subscriber or something like that, and you're just starting to see some of my track reviews and stuff, man, don't forget, it's all on my front page. I've got somewhere in the neighborhood of like 10 plus crazy moment compilations where it's just insanity shit, just one after another on this game. Like 10 videos of it, dude. Like, it's a lot. And I've also got all my wide open videos. There's so many of those where it's as wide open as I can possibly go on those tracks. A lot of those are 125 videos. I've got all that laid out in playlist. Yeah, man, just don't forget about all those video series out there in my custom track series. Got like 40, 50, 60 something custom tracks. Most of them have the download links to them as well. A lot of you fans know all this stuff, but I just have to explain it because I am still growing on YouTube, believe it or not, even though I'm like barely uploading. I'm still growing, and you know, you've always got new people, and they may just not know your history and your past, and there's a lot of videos out there, man. You just kind of got to dig for them a little bit, and then you'll find them, but there's quite a few more chill style tabletops and stuff on this track that you know, you don't have to be too crazy hot on the throttle with, but I'm just rating this particular motocross track. I'm not rating the whole compound together or the supercross track or any of that stuff. This is a really fun section right here that you never really have to let off on. But like, I am taking into account all of the scenery. I think there could have been a little bit more scenery wise as far as like trees. It's like the same exact tree if I'm not mistaken, but it's really not that bad. I mean, this is probably one of the best off tracks I've seen, but like simple. It's so simple. All it really is that one tree and then that little like grass billboard or whatever that is just here and there, and that's basically all it is. Got a little river style thing going over here, but another big thing that's helping him out a lot is his off-track decal work. It's not just one decal. It looks like multiple different decals, so that makes it, that just gives it a little bit more variation to the off-track. You can see how there's like sand, and then it's like green grass, and then it's like emerald green grass, so it's got a little bit of combination with that, and also all the lights off of the track adds a little bit more to it. So yeah, man, it's not bad. I mean, for what it is off track, it's probably about the best you could do it. Like if you just gave somebody one tree object and one grass billboard, this is probably about the best you could pull that off right here. So, and I know the tree placement is pretty basic. It's kind of like you just splintered a bunch of trees out there, and they're like perfectly almost spaced apart. Some areas are a little bit different, but it's not like a bunch of trees here and then like an open area here. Like I always say, you know, that's what you need to do with tree placement. It's not really like that, but still, he's just managed to pull it together pretty well. Like you can see over there, it's almost like tree farm status on that placement, but I don't know, dude. It's just something about this track. Everything just looks pretty good. And some of these sections, like in between the jumps where you got the grass billboards and stuff, looks really good. It's just fun. The track is just fun. You got these cool sections where it's kind of like angled jumps. You can do turn-up whips on them. The corners have just enough skill gap to them with the roughness and the rut placement and, you know, plenty of lines and stuff like that. So, man, I'm going to have to give this track a 10 overall. I know that might seem like a little bit of overkill with it because it is missing some elements of, like, real nighttime motocross tracks on this game, but just in an overall sense, and the fun factor in being a little bit different than some other tracks out there, and the way that it's built, it's pretty unique in that sense, dude. Like, everything about the track is somewhat unique. So and just the sections, they're memorable sections, they're fun sections, they're big jumps, small jumps. You know, there's a lot of fun factor here. Your cool roller sections that you feel like you never really have to let off on. There's a lot of that going on, man. So, yeah, I mean, you know, it had 11 potential, 11 out of 10 potential if it would have had real shading to it, and if I would say some of these jumps were just a little bit more like, I don't even want to say that because I like the way the track is. It's just, I guess, if it was a little bit more consistent, like some of these jumps just feel a little bit out of place. Like this one right here, that's a little bit on the difficult side. I know you can just double that, but come on, dude. Everybody's trying to triple that, and it's almost like a Pastrana-style jump right there. I know it may not seem like it because it's a tabletop, but it really doesn't even matter. Like this dirt, all this dirt after this little double right here is basically pointless because the amount of height you're getting off of that jump peak makes it to where you're just going to pop off anyways if you don't land it all the way down here. So that's kind of what you got there. And just some other little sections are a little bit funky. is kind of how you would word it, you know. But it's nothing bad, and I like that it's like that at the same time, you know, because it makes it its own track. Like this little booter tabletop right here, even though it's weird feeling, it's still a ton of fun because it's different from any other jump out there. I love this little roller section, some of these off-cambered jumps and corners, and I love all that stuff. Some of these bigger doubles, like I'm saying, you know, the peakness of them is almost like more like a freestyle jump or like a super advanced pro level jump in comparison to some of these other jumps out here. So it's just a little bit of inconsistency in your jump sizes and differences and stuff like that, but I still love the way it is, don't get me wrong. It's just, it makes for a little bit of a bizarre experience if you're not like really advanced with this game and you know how to hit jumps and stuff like that. It can make it a little bit of a gnarly experience because you think it's not that difficult, but in turn it actually is a little bit more difficult than you thought on some of these jumps. So but in an overall sense, love the track, man. Very cool job. Love all the different sections. So anyways, I would say the difficulty in an overall sense is probably hard because there is roughness everywhere. I say everywhere. There's roughness in a lot of places on the track, and it's a different style of roughness, so you kind of got to get used to that. And some of these tight corners and sections can be somewhat tricky in some of those jumps like I was talking about. So either way, I appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.